if every person that comes down in here damages it and does whatever they want. So please, hands to yourselves. Stay on the paved concrete paths. Photos are okay, they are encouraged, but most importantly, what we want to do is we want to have fun down here. So, without further ado, I will let you down into our lit entryway. Do not cross the bridge just yet. And let me be the first to welcome you all into Mystery! Hey!
Clapping!
Thank you. Just gotta wait a moment.
Oh.
So if you folks want to just file, we need everybody to get in beyond the ramp here so that we can get out. Wow, Dan, is that how you usually do it?
That's how I do it every time.
That is. Makes me want to
That is spectacular. Challenge accepted.
being introduced to Jurassic Park.
Hold my jacket. Hold my jacket.
Except the
I will
cave
hold your hand.
monsters are
Hold
not
my
in
jacket.
cages, they just roam around.
Yeah, we barely made it. I ate one of them.
Oh, delicious. Do they taste like chicken?
Bacon.
Bacon.
Bacon, right. Good answer.
Yes, very good answer. Alrighty, my group, I want you to take a look around you. Everything that you can see down here that is not a concrete walkway, a steel bridge or beam, or one of our many lighting fixtures was all formed completely naturally over hundreds of thousands of years of water erosion. We can see this feature here and see what a little bit of that water erosion does. This is our skylight. And here we can talk about a couple of the different kinds of rocks that we're going to be seeing here today. We have two main rocks. The dolomite are these brick-like structures that are sticking out at us. Dolomite is made from old limestone. Limestone is made from the shells of dead sea creatures. Above and below every single layer of dolomite is what we call shale. Shale is made from, remember what I said dolomite is made out of? Limestone. And what is that limestone made out of?
Sea creatures.
Sea creatures, specifically their shells. And does anyone know what seashells are made out of? Calcium, very good. The very same element that makes up your fingernails, teeth, and bones makes up a majority of the material in this cave. Now, in order to understand how these features came to carve out these tunnels, water created every single cell in your body. And through water dissolution and deposition, these speleothems came to be. Water starts on the surface as rain. It enters the soil and becomes acidic. If you don't want to feel it, that is okay, but this is your only chance. You'll never be able to feel a speleothem again.
Be prepared to touch the rock.
You see, so that's the thing. I'm not sure if it's phosphorescence or
That rock. You can touch.
Not bio,
All of you can touch.
yeah, that's what I've done my research on. So it's biorefringence is what I'm thinking. But it is luminescent. I was
Touch
just
it.
doing research
Feel
on
it.
this like a couple of days ago, trying to figure out if I've been using
All
the
the way.
wrong term or not. But
Is it smooth?
Yeah.
it does, but phosphorescent.
Wow.
But when I was looking into it, every
This is
research
smooth.
that I was talking about cave geology was saying that it was biorefringence and not
Mama, my stars are
phosphorescence
glowing.
because it's
My
not
stars are
phosphorus. It's
glowing.
CaCO2,
Okay.
which isn't.
one looks like it's
I'm not sure.
glowing.
I'm really not, but it's one of the two. I'm just not certain on which one yet. Did one of you have a ring on? No, it was someone up there. There was someone that had a really big ruby ring on, and corundum is phosphorescence. I'm pretty sure, but calcite is a little bit different. But again, I'm not 100% sure on it. It's one of the two though, but very good because most people say bioluminescence, which is living things. Rocks are not alive to our knowledge. Oh, yeah. Alrighty, everyone, welcome to the Devil's Kitchen, where I like to say we're gonna cook up a little bit of geology. Now, by a show of hands, how many of us here are from Minnesota, the land of 10,000 lakes? All right, represent. Keep that hand raised if you are from Fillmore County, the county in Minnesota that we're currently in. Everyone always puts their hands down for Fillmore County. Now, here in Fillmore County, we have officially left the land of 10,000 lakes, and we have entered the land of 10,000 sinkholes. And here we are at the bottom of one of those future sinkholes. If you look up at the ceiling, you are going to see why there are 0 naturally forming lakes in Fillmore County. Water is a very heavy substance, about 7 pounds per gallon, and it follows the path of least resistance down. Imagine being a lake. Are you 150 million years ago? Now, geologists think that this cave only began over a very short amount of time ago, geologically speaking. Only about 1 million years ago. And 1 million years is considered a short amount of time on the geologic time scale. But to us, 1 million years is an unfathomably large number. Try to count to 1 billion. Try to count to 1 million on your 10 fingers.
20 feet.
I dare you. See how far you get before you get bored. Stop at that part. So, how can we begin to understand hundreds of millions to billions of years when we humans only get about 100 to 150 years at best? Well, it's extremely complicated and hard because 1 million seconds, can everyone say 1 million? 1 million. 1 million seconds is about 12 days. But 1 billion seconds, can everyone? 32 years. So when you're dealing with hundreds of millions to billions of years, a mere million isn't all that much, and the human time scale is almost completely insignificant. Which is why geology is the youngest science that we have, only being widely accepted as science fact as early as 1960, after we accidentally mapped the entire seafloor while looking for submarines in World War II. Now, I'm going to try and show us what we don't see in this wavelength of light. If you look up at the ceiling above you here, you're going to see what you can see with the visible light spectrum. But underneath the UV light, it's going to look just a little bit differently. Now, just because we see it doesn't mean that's all we can see. Because at the end of the day, as soon as the visible light spectrum is introduced, what we were observing is gone, but it's still there. We're going to use this flashlight periodically throughout the cave tour to see things from a different point of view. But for now, we are going to walk out of this tunnel and on to our next section of the cave called the Dome Room. When we get there,
Which will be a bit safer. This is the place.
alright, continue on down this way. Don't go down that tunnel. You're going to want to stay in this lit area here. Alright, continue on filling in here, everyone.
इनके हाथ पकड़ लो यार Hasan, hold Amma's hand because the side railing is not very safe and there is a lot of depression.
But you're not.
stay in the middle.
Niagara Cave is a north section of rock from circular limestone. We're in the Butte Formation, so we have a little bit bigger tunnels. Ours is a little bit older than theirs. So, all right, everyone. So we are going to stay on this bridge, but I'm going to let you pass me at this point, and as you do, I want you to look up into what I call the monster's mouth. Go ahead and pass by me, look up where my flashlight is pointing, and gaze into the jaws of Cthulhu, or whatever you want to call it. Some people say it gives Stranger Things vibes. I tend to agree with that. We're going to want to stay on this bridge. That's the speleothem. That is my favorite part of the cave. And then down below us we have Frozen Falls Pool. Now, I consider Frozen Falls to be alive. Not in the same way that it will continue to grow here for the next 11,000 years. Unless people continue to damage it. Back when the DNR purchased this property, this entire area was full of grass. It was easier to just fill in the hole than it was to build a bridge over it, which I completely get. But in doing so, they damaged a lot of things by allowing people access to it. As people walk by, they knocked their flashlights on the walls. Maybe they even reached out and took some home for themselves. We don't really know. But the consequences of these actions are felt to this day. Because these speleothems are not going to grow back. They were 1,000-year-old species, they were 1,000-year-old things that were growing as water flowed down. Lumber stones show up in river valleys dating from the 1300s. China had 16 rivers dry up in one Mississippi that haven't had clean drinking water for months. And that is only going to get worse. But here in Minnesota, we are extremely lucky because we just had 3-mile-high glaciers recede from this area only 1,100 years ago, 11,000 years ago, which left a lot of fresh water for us to then pollute, and then allow corporations to come in and pump and purify and clean, which is why the world is facing something known as water privatization, which is not in the news. Because what's more important for you to read about are Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's trials. Or maybe whatever posturing is going on by whatever political figure which we will not get into. But at the end of the day, there's a vested interest in keeping us unaware of the problems that are facing our water crisis. The world is facing a global water crisis very, very soon. There may be wars fought over our ability to access fresh, clean drinking water. And it won't be wars between the United States and Germany. It'll be wars between Minnesota and Wisconsin. Now, this is all very existential, and there's not a lot we can do about it, but we have to understand that every day we have choices to make. Our choices can have long-lasting effects on the environments where we live. I want you to think about what impact you want to have on the places where you live. This is the last stop on our tour today. And here is when we look down into the April. All tickets sold out by June. So, if you're interested in a wild caving tour, please go on to the DNR's website next April and book your tickets for the time you're available. Now you see it, now you don't. There are no lighting fixtures, concrete walkways, steel bridges, or beams on the wild caving tour. It is you, your flashlight, and your guide. Now behind us is the illustrious, beautiful turquoise lake. And I can stand here, and in order to show you how the cave is supposed to be experienced, I need to turn off all afraid of the dark. And the prospect of this is kind of terrifying. I want you to understand that that is completely okay. We have been afraid of the dark as humans for about as long as we've been human, probably. Hold on